When planning a 100 amp service upgrade for a mobile home, several critical factors need careful consideration. Firstly, focus on the pedestal grounding. Check the suitability of the 2 grounding rods at the pedestal and the 1 rod at the mobile home. They must meet the requirements outlined in Section 250.56 of the National Electrical Code for grounding electrode systems. This ensures that you have an effective path to ground in case of a fault. Secondly, grounding isolation is crucial. Ensure that the neutrals and grounds are properly isolated at the mobile home. This prevents the creation of a parallel path to ground, which can lead to unwanted current flow and potential safety hazards. It's a fundamental safety measure in mobile home electrical systems. The next important consideration is the pedestal capacity. While the pedestal service is rated at 200 amps, it's essential to verify that the existing feeder cables and other loads are adequately sized to handle the increased load from the new 100 amp service. Overloading the pedestal can result in overheating, voltage drop, and potentially dangerous situations. Another potential issue arises from unknown load calculations. Not knowing the calculated load of the other 2 homes being fed from the same pedestal can be problematic. If the total load in the pedestal exceeds its capacity, it could lead to overloads and safety concerns. It's advisable to try and obtain this information or make conservative assumptions to ensure the pedestal can handle the combined load. Since the inspector is difficult to reach, document all questions. Send an email or leave a detailed message outlining the questions and request clarification. Provide as much information as possible, including the specific regulations and code articles being referred to. This may help expedite a response and demonstrate due diligence. Other important considerations include neutral sizing. Ensure that the neutral conductor is properly sized according to Table 310.15 in the National Electrical Code for the calculated load. An undersized neutral conductor can overheat and cause voltage imbalances. Also, regarding the service disconnect, verify that the existing service disconnect or the 40 amp service is rated for the new 100 amp service. If it's not, replace it with a disconnect that's appropriately rated for the increased amperage. This is a critical safety component. Furthermore, regarding conduit and wire sizing, confirm that the conduit and wire gauge being planned, specifically number 4 copper, are appropriate for the ampacity of the new service. Refer to the National Electrical Code tables for ampacity ratings and conduit fill requirements. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, ensure the entire installation complies with the latest edition of the National Electrical Code. The NEC provides comprehensive guidelines for safe and effective electrical installations. Adherence to these guidelines is essential for passing inspection and ensuring the safety of the mobile home and its occupants. Also, consider the short circuit current rating, or SCCR, of the equipment being installed. Ensure that the equipment's SCCR is sufficient to handle the available fault current at the point of installation. This prevents equipment failure and potential hazards in the event of a short circuit. Verify that all bonding connections are properly made and tightened. Bonding ensures that all metallic parts of the electrical system are at the same potential, reducing the risk of electric shock. Use appropriate bonding jumpers and connectors as required by the National Electrical Code. Also check for proper overcurrent protection. Ensure that all circuits are protected by appropriately sized circuit breakers or fuses. Overcurrent protection devices are designed to interrupt the flow of current in the event of an overload or short circuit, preventing damage to equipment and reducing the risk of fire. Pay attention to working space requirements. Ensure that there is adequate working space around electrical equipment, such as panels and disconnects. The National Electrical Code specifies minimum working space dimensions to allow for safe access and maintenance. Also, consider voltage drop. Calculate the voltage drop in the circuit to ensure that it remains within acceptable limits. Excessive voltage drop can cause equipment malfunction and reduce efficiency. Use appropriately sized conductors to minimize voltage drop. Check the grounding electrode conductor size. Verify that the grounding electrode conductor is properly sized according to the National Electrical Code. A grounding electrode conductor connects the grounding electrode system to the electrical system, providing a path for fault current to flow back to the source. Review the requirements for ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI, protection. Ensure that ground fault circuit interrupter protection is provided in areas where required by the National Electrical Code, such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor locations. Ground fault circuit interrupters are designed to detect small leakage currents and interrupt the circuit, preventing electric shock. Also consider arc fault circuit interrupter, or AFSI, protection. Determine whether arc fault circuit interrupter protection is required for the circuits in the mobile home. Arc fault circuit interrupters are designed to detect arc faults, which are a common cause of electrical fires, and interrupt the circuit. Verify the labeling requirements. Ensure that all electrical equipment and circuits are properly labeled. Labeling helps to identify circuits and equipment, making it easier to troubleshoot and maintain the electrical system. Also look at the panel board schedule. Create an accurate panel board schedule that identifies the circuits and their corresponding loads. A panel board schedule helps to distribute the load evenly across the phases and provides a record of the electrical system. Be sure to have a permit and inspection. Obtain the necessary permits for the electrical work and schedule an inspection by a qualified electrical inspector. The inspection ensures that the electrical installation complies with the applicable codes and standards. It may also be useful to consult with a qualified electrician. If unsure about any aspect of the electrical installation, consult with a qualified electrician. An electrician can provide guidance and assistance to ensure that the electrical work is done safely and correctly. Also, be sure to consider the demand factors. Apply demand factors to the calculated load to account for the fact that not all electrical equipment will be operating at the same time. Demand factors can reduce the size of the service entrance conductors and overcurrent protection devices. Also, think about future expansion. Consider the possibility of future expansion when sizing the service entrance conductors and equipment. It is often more cost-effective to install a larger service than needed initially to avoid having to upgrade the service later. Think about the location of the service disconnect. Choose a location for the service disconnect that is easily accessible in case of an emergency. The service disconnect should be located outside the mobile home or near the point where the service entrance conductors enter the mobile home. Remember to check the local amendments. Be aware of any local amendments to the National Electrical Code that may be in effect in the jurisdiction where the mobile home is located. Local amendments may add or modify the requirements of the National Electrical Code. Also, consider surge protection. Install surge protection devices to protect sensitive electronic equipment from voltage surges. Surge protection devices can help to prevent damage to computers, televisions, and other electronic devices caused by lightning strikes or other electrical disturbances. Check the voltage rating of equipment. Ensure that all electrical equipment is rated for the voltage of the electrical system. Using equipment that is not rated for the correct voltage can be dangerous and can damage the equipment. Also, check the ambient temperature. Consider the ambient temperature when selecting conductors and equipment. The ampacity of conductors decreases as the ambient temperature increases. Also, the performance of some equipment may be affected by temperature. Regarding wire connections, be sure to make all wire connections properly. Use the correct tools and techniques to make secure or unreliable wire connections. Loose or corroded wire connections can cause overheating and can be a fire hazard. Check the torque requirements. Tighten all screws and terminals to the torque specified by the manufacturer. Over-tightening or under-tightening screws and terminals can damage the equipment and can create a safety hazard. Check for stray voltage. Use a voltmeter to check for stray voltage on metal parts of the electrical system. Stray voltage can be an indication of a wiring problem and can be a shock hazard. Also, consider the type of wiring method. Choose a wiring method that is appropriate for the application. Common wiring methods include non-metallic sheath cable or NM cable, electrical metallic tubing or IMT, and rigid metal conduit or RMC. Remember to inspect the existing wiring. Carefully inspect the existing wiring in the mobile home for any signs of damage or deterioration. Replace any damaged or deteriorated wiring to ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system. Also, consider the use of energy-efficient lighting. Install energy-efficient lighting fixtures and lamps to reduce energy consumption and save money on electricity bills. LED lighting is a popular choice for energy-efficient lighting, and of course provide proper support for wiring. Support all wiring properly to prevent it from sagging or becoming damaged. Use cable ties, straps, or other approved methods to support the wiring. Also consider the use of weatherproof enclosures. Use weatherproof enclosures for electrical equipment that is located outdoors or in damp locations. Weatherproof enclosures protect the equipment from the elements and help to prevent corrosion and electrical shock. Think about the clearance requirements. Maintain the required clearances around electrical equipment. The National Electrical Code specifies minimum clearances around electrical equipment to allow for safe access and maintenance. Be sure to use the correct type of conduit fittings. Use the correct type of conduit fittings for the type of conduit being used. Incorrect conduit fittings can damage the conduit and can create a safety hazard. Also, consider the color coding of wiring. Follow the National Electrical Code's color code for wiring. The color code helps to identify the purpose of each wire and can prevent wiring errors. Be sure to check the polarity of receptacles. Verify that the polarity of receptacles is correct. The hot, neutral, and ground wires must be connected to the correct terminals on the receptacle to prevent electrical shock. Consider the use of a whole house surge protector. Install a whole house surge protector at the service entrance to protect all of the electrical equipment in the mobile home from voltage surges. Be sure to bond metal water pipes. Bond metal water pipes to the electrical grounding system to prevent electrical shock. Also, consider the use of tamper-resistant receptacles. Install tamper-resistant receptacles in areas where children are present. Tamper-resistant receptacles have shutters that prevent children from inserting objects into the receptacle. Think about the location of smoke detectors. Install smoke detectors in the mobile home to provide early warning of a fire. Smoke detectors should be located on each level of the mobile home and in each sleeping area. Be sure to follow the manufacturer's instructions. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for all electrical equipment. The manufacturer's instructions provide important information about the safe and proper installation and use of the equipment. Be sure to test the ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs. Test ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, regularly to ensure that they are working properly. Use a ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI tester to test the GFCIs. Be sure to keep records of all electrical work. Keep records of all electrical work that is performed in the mobile home. The records should include the date of the work, the name of the electrician who performed the work, and a description of the work that was performed.